when we're thinking about society at large. And to illustrate how ill-cliterate many people are, the Huffington Post asked people to identify a picture of a clitoris. Let's take a look.
Nothing is coming to my head. Is that bad?
Looks like a utensil. Looks like lungs.
Makes me think of an onion.
Ice cream, I guess, or a mustache.
Vocal cords?
Banana peel.
Karina, did anyone know?
There was one woman who knew, and she, after the fact, when she was off camera, I was like, how do you know this? And she's like, there's this project called Cliteracy. And I was like, there we have it. You know, the one person, we probably asked about 40 different people on the street, and we got, I mean, my favorite answer was a weird-ass Angry Birds character, because I was like, yep, it kind of does.
Well, here's the thing, Sophia, exactly that, because many people, especially even when you Google it, what we learned in the health books, if it's mentioned at all, is that it's a small little sensitive nubbin. But when actually, it's what we saw right there, right?
Yes. It's incredible. It's its own internal organ. It's akin to an iceberg. It has 8,000 nerves on the tip of it. It's comprised of erectile tissue. It nearly doubles in size when it's engaged. And you know, the G-spot that's talked about often much more than the clitoris is just a part of the internal clitoris. Part of what's really amazing about it is it has a direct blood supply in the way that the penis doesn't, so it can have orgasm after orgasm after orgasm after orgasm. I mean, not that it's ever a competition, but like if we were to put them side by side, I mean, the clitoris is unstoppable. I mean, the most orgasms a man has had in hours, like 19, woman, hundreds. I mean, nearly 300. So not that it's a competition, but if we want to talk about, you know, stamina ability.
But honestly, it should be inspirational.
Absolutely.
Because, Jenny, we're dealing with a situation where not only if we know our bodies, we can have multiple orgasms way faster than men can, but many women struggle having even one orgasm. They think they're broken or something's wrong with them. It's not that there's something wrong with us, it's something wrong with the way we look at the female anatomy and what we know about it.
You know, not just the way we look at female anatomy, but just how we define sex in general. So to my mind, we're really having procreative sex for recreation. I mean, for women, for a penis to go in a vagina, that's all very nice, and some of that can feel very good, but that's not the main game. Like, that's not where the fun is going to happen. So the fact that we would be continuing to do that, and I can't tell you how many emails I get from women, or just at a bar, as soon as someone finds out, you know, that I'm working on a book about orgasms, that the first thing they say is, what's wrong with me? Why can't I come from vaginal intercourse? I say, nothing's wrong with you. The problem is with what we're calling sex. I mean, sex is all of it. Sex is the kissing and the touching and all the body parts, but it's certainly the clit. I mean, if we're not talking about the clit, we're not talking about female orgasm. We're not really talking about women's sexuality.
Not only is it about information and awareness of anatomy and appreciation and respect, it's also about understanding how to masturbate, but it's also about getting our partners involved. So here's the thing. Most people just think about the clitoris, if they know about it all, as rubbing a generic eraser board or writing the alphabet with our tongue. What are some ways that partners can properly manipulate the clitoris in a way that behooves it best?
First thing that we have to talk about, I think, is position. And I think you have to get near to it. I think we have a lot of problems with that. That, you know, it's interesting because in lesbian sex, you find yourself positioning yourself between your partner's legs and directly addressing the clitoris. When I've had sex with men in the past, that was not an experience I had. And so I recommend that to men. Like, you know, make her comfortable, have her lay back on her pillows and, you know, get in there. You need to be able to see what you're working with. And then you really need to experiment. You need to spread her legs and touch her lips, touch the outer lips, open her slowly, pull back the hood gently as she is ready, and then start experimenting with different ways to touch her and see how she responds. Now, this is not something I would recommend jumping out of the gate if this is not behavior you have done before. This involves a lot of communication and talking with your partner and figuring out what works. But different clits like different things. Some prefer to be rubbed up and down, call it jilling off, almost like you're jacking off a penis. Some women prefer a lot of pressure. Some women prefer circles. Some women prefer that you really mix it up, and others are like, once you get to it, don't mess around and mess me up. I think one of the most important techniques is spending time. there's this illusion that sometimes somehow it takes women longer, and that's actually not scientifically true. If you, in the studies of lesbians and women masturbating, it takes the same amount of time from 0 to 100 for men and women. It's just that what you're considering activity for women is not. We're not getting anything from it. We need the actual clitoral stimulation, for most of us anyway. So the biggest tip I can give is take your time, pay attention to her breathing, to her talking, to her movement. Really look at her, really see what's going on with her body and how the clit becomes engorged and how red she becomes and how open and how wet. Those are all signs that you're doing it right. And experiment and touch her in ways that are interesting to you and see if they're interesting to her. I mean, this is supposed to be about pleasure. This is supposed to be fun and wonderful and a way to connect with someone. And I honestly, personally can't think of a better way to connect with someone intimately than really trying to figure me out or really trying to figure her out and finding that and sort of, proverbially high-fiving over it, because that's amazing when you can do that. So my biggest piece of advice is get in there. You got to get in there.